Hey, Angie and friends, loving talking to my friends all over the world, whether they're in Barbados, whether they're in the UK, whether they're in Canada. Today, my guest is in the US of A, and I've known this lady a long time. If I was to say Choice FM, giving it to you straight, no chaser, Sister to Sister magazine, Jamie Foster Brown, how are you?
That's my girlfriend. That's my Angie. Hi, I'm fine. She looks so pretty.
Oh, stop it.
Look at you. Look. Angie, really, you haven't changed since we met. How long was that? 25? Well, it was 30 years.
It's over 24 years because yes. Morgan, my eldest, she's 24 this year.
Yes.
And I had her the year after I left Choice. So I've left Choice 25 years and I met you a good 2-3 years before I left.
Right.
So it's been a while. It's been a while.
Wonderful. Thank you. You look wonderful.
But you're looking amazing, as you always do, Jamie. I've never seen you with a hair out of place or hat not coordinating with the lips, or you're just doing it, girl. You're just doing it.
But you know you have to, even though we got a little bit raunchy in these last years and we're doing the twerk and whatever else and taking off all our clothes and booty shaking and being pretty funky. I mean, a lot of times I look at this stuff and I'm saying, what she smell like? You know, the way. Anyway, we have to be elegant. We have to remain elegant, and you are elegant. And I want to be elegant. I want to be something that not only men will look at me and say, that's something to have, you know, that's someone to have, as well as women would say, or their children say, I want to grow older gracefully. I would like to look nice also.
You look beautiful. You look absolutely beautiful.
No drinks.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Now, I would have loved to have got this interview with you earlier in the year, but I think one of the reasons why it's good that we're doing it now is because I think everybody was jumping on the Whitney Houston bandwagon. And for some unknown reason, it just seems to be one artist that, look, we love her. I love her. Whitney and I, 60s girls. And when that first album came out, I can remember all of us were like, oh my God, have you seen Whitney Houston? She's so gorgeous. That first album with, you know, the off the shoulder dress, then on the back, that white swimsuit, she just was, oh my gosh. And there's been a lot of talk about Whitney, lots of what I call sensationalism, lots of biopics. But one of the reasons I want to talk to you is you knew Whitney, and it wasn't just a passing thing. She could call you, you could call her. Tell me, first of all, how you met her.
Well, how did I meet? Well, you know, I programmed Black entertainment television. Yeah. So I was Donnie Simpson's producer. I met all of the little brown babies that were starting to come up. They had to come through me. And because I was the producer for Video Soul. And so the music industry, we were the main ones. We had Soul Train, but Soul Train was people would come out and they would have like a 2-minute interview after they did the performance, but there was no in-depth, interviews, and that's what I set up for Donnie. So I met a lot of people through being the producer for Black Entertainment Television's Video Soul. And so Whitney, when she came, everybody was. Well, we were all excited about her because she was like already a superstar. She was already a superstar because she was not in the Black music. She wasn't in the Black department. She was in the pop department. They came out, and that was a blessing and a curse for her, because if you're in the pop department, you have the world that can embrace you, the Latinos, the Chinese, everybody could embrace you all over the world, as opposed to R&B at that time was more limited, just to it was a narrow space to be in. But because she was, Clive Davis was the one who got her. He in Arista Records, and Aretha Franklin, all the great voices with Clive. Clive loved great voices, and so he took her and they promoted her pop. that was very hard for her because they thought she would, they called her Whitey Houston instead of Whitney Houston. They were crucifying her before she had even really gotten out there. So there was a lot of pushback for her, and nobody understood, including me, because I said, well, why does she have to be pop? I don't know why I asked that dumb question, because now I know if you pop, there's a bigger audience, you make more money. I mean, we got so many crossover R&B people now, or pop people, so we make much more money. And so they booed her at the 1989 Soul Train Awards, and it was like she had 7 #1 singles off that album. Al Sharpton, who we adore, who's our Ungawa Black Power, pastor, who's become quite well known. He called her Whitey Houston.
Okay.
So at the time, she was 19 years old. And so at the time, I didn't understand. I talked to a very seasoned Black man and I told him, I said, well, why she got to be, pop and white? He said, Jamie, that's a bigger world for her.
Yeah.
Why not let her be what and who she can be? And this is really good for us to talk about, because we should let us grow.
Yeah.
And we have, look,
I will say that
in terms of the music, right?
Okay, but just before we move on, I will say, because we mentioned pop and we mentioned R&B, and in my opinion, R&B became very commercial, very pop. R&B in the 90s is what Motown was in the 60s. It just absolutely opened up a market. I mean, I can remember hearing Jay-Z, Hard Knock Life, on commercial stations here in London. So I think it was really important to make that point. Perhaps at the time that Whitney was more pop, it wasn't commercial. But I'm going to tell you when I think that changed. Do you remember the album, My Love Is Your Love Is My Love? There was some tunes on there that, because Wycliffe was very much a part of that album, and there were some great tunes on that album.
Yes.
Would that have been the time that she would have maybe opened her heart and soul and said, listen, as much as I love doing pop, I need to get into my soul?
Well, she was they were bringing other songs to her also, and then she was doing The Bodyguard. There was a lot of stuff that was going on, and so everybody, all producers wanted to have her sing at that time. So so she was money, and that wasn't difficult for her to make that trans. After we started embracing all her music, it was over. I mean, now they're concentrating on, well, why is she with Bobby Brown? You understand what I'm saying?
Let's talk about that, because if memory serves, you were at the birthday party that apparently the world and his wife, everyone in the industry was at this party.
I was sitting next to Bobby when Whitney came and met him for the first time, because she hadn't met, as I recall.
Did we not see him performing at some show?
Well, she liked the way he performed. She liked the way he moved. The people were telling her she was Black, but people were telling her that you're not Black, and I don't like you because you're not Black. You don't sing Black songs. It was a crazy time. When Bobby is like, F those people. You know what I'm saying? He became her protector. Bobby is a protector. He's gonna fight. Leave her. He was like that even with me. He is that guy. And that's what Ralph Tresvant said too. Bobby will fight. He will jump in there and fight for you. He will join the fight. And he's very protective. So did she need that? Absolutely. She needed a champion.
Why was Bobby, look, you mentioned Bobby Brown, and straight away I went nasty. But there was something sexy about the side of him that, listen, my prerogative, come on now. And that album, Don't Be Cruel, jeez, I mean,
Well, think about all the women that loved him and that he was, besides Bobby, you know, he liked to do bang, 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 you know, that sort of thing. Bobby is, he's faithful. Bobby will fight for you. Bobby is Bobby. When people, they used to tell me, Bobby, when he would perform, when he could, you know, at the end of the concert, when he's coming off the stage, the family is right there waiting for the money. You know, because a lot of times they got paid in cash. Linda, we talked to her earlier, she's the one who had to pay that money, count out that money, because she worked in that field also. So he was like, he became, that's why he broke off from the group, you understand, because he's an individual. He was an entertainer. And so that's, you know, they loved him and everything, but he did have to go his own way. Then when he got with Whitney, he became even bigger. Now, you know, that couple was amazing. And then when they got married, I mean, I went to the wedding, and half the room was excited, the other half was like this. You understand what I'm saying? I remember looking at Robin, and she was like, you know, because this was a loss, because that was her best friend. They had been good friends for a long, long time, and it was a kind of a sad thing for her. But I had a ball. I had a great time. So it was if you look behind all that pressure on these kids.
Yeah.
They're children, actually. They weren't allowed, you know, because they became superstars when they were children, basically.
Very young, yeah.
How do you handle all that, you know? And that's why they turned into one another. Especially Bobby and Whitney became so close, and she relied on him for so much, and he was there. But then the drug stuff happened. That wasn't a good thing, you know.
I don't personally want to home in on the drugs, because there was more to Whitney than just the drugs. But one thing I would like you to confirm is that she didn't start drugs because of Bobby. Can you confirm that?
Oh yeah, from when I remember, Bobby drank and smoked. He smoked cigarettes. That's what his vices were: beer and cigarettes, whatever. So that drug thing, that came later. That he didn't bring that, as far as I know, and I've heard, he didn't bring that to her. Her family was more involved with that, from what I remember during that time.
I needed to clear that up, because I think Bobby got quite a bad rap.
And he never defended himself.
Did he have the strength? Did he have the strength?
He didn't care.
Oh, okay.
You see, it's that sort of thing that Whitney liked about him, because he wouldn't care. He wouldn't pour into that. You know, like what I mean? All that stuff that was coming at her, as long as he was there for her, as long as he loving her, and they were doing the show, they were raising the kids and all that. That he was a safety net for her, because you have to remember, Whitney was on her own. Bobby had to deal with group dynamics. So he had to deal with other people in terms of what he had to do. Obviously, there was a departure from the group, because Bobby was a star. Also, you know, he was a star. Remember, Ralph Tresvant was like, Mr. Taylor, you know, he was like the cutie pie and everything, but Bobby was the one, bang, 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 you know, he was sexy, pretty much emulating sex on the stage, you know. And those women, they ate it up. They liked that.